My name is Alyssa Carpenter and I'm a volunteer with Habitat, and today we are building this planter box right here. This is what your finished product will end up looking like, and I will go through the steps with you in this video. Okay, so the first step is we are going to build 4 of these panels. I've already built 3, so I'm just going to build the last one for this video. And a couple things to note: we're going to be using 2 of the 1x3 boards. We're going to be using 3 of the cut cedar fence posts. These are 5.5 by 17 3/4. You will have 2 sizes of screws in your kit. You should have a 2.5 inch, and then this is a 1 1/4 inch. So we are going to be using these shorter ones right now for this panel. And then you're going to need a drill, and a good idea is to wear gloves just because the cedar is a little, it's not smooth. You're also going to need your wood glue. What we're going to do is lay the 1x3s down, and then what we want is these 3 cedar panels, take that off, to lay. You want them to be flush right here with the edge of this board. You want a little bit of a gap in between them, and then on this side you want an 1/8 of an inch little border, or an extra portion of the 1x3 sticking out. As you can see right here as well, we have a little bit of the board sticking out, and then currently there's probably about an 1/8 of a gap in between. And so I'm going to do the same thing on this side. It's just kind of easier to line everything up before you get going. Make sure those are still aligned. And so I'm going to leave it this way, to be honest. And the easiest way I found is to take one off. I'm going to lay some of my glue down. You really don't need much, just enough to make it a bit stronger. And then gently lay this back down. And if you're working inside your home or anywhere besides like a kind of a dirty workbench, you want to make sure that you don't put too much glue, because it could seep through, especially when you tighten it with screws. It could very easily seep through. I don't want to have anybody ruin anything. So we're going to put 2 of our 1 1/4 inch screws in each end. Oops, that split, but it's okay. Whoopsie. Oh. This board is not happy. It's okay, that's the inside of our board. The planter box will still be structurally safe. Last one. Okay, let me pause. Okay, so now you guys should have glued and screwed in all 3 of your panels, and so this is actually the outside of what it's going to look like. So here at my house we have 4 total. So our next step is going to be to put a bracket on the inside, and this is what is going to hold your dirt. So we're going to put some brackets in here. For mine, I'm going to measure, let's just say, I'm going to measure 8 inches from the end. It's kind of just a rough estimate of 8 inches. And so let me explain to you how you might want to put more, depending on what you plan to put in your planter. If you want more dirt, you're gonna put these are 2x4s, we just use scrap wood. You're gonna put your brackets lower, and so you'll see this whole thing, once you put your cross beams in, this whole thing will be filled with dirt. But if you're putting, like, you know, perennials or just some annual flowers, you can even put just the dirt or the brackets cross right here, and then just have this amount of dirt filled. And then that way it makes your planter not so heavy, but it's still, you know, it still does the job, and it still looks kind of, I don't know, sturdy. So anyway, so that's just your decision to make. And so, like I said, I'm gonna go kind of about midway. And like I said, it's not a perfect science. I'm not even gonna mark it. I'm just gonna try to measure about 8 inches. That looks like that shifted a lot. Let's see, let's double check. 8 and 8. And then we're gonna take, I'm gonna start right in the middle. Just one screw per panel. One. 2, 3. And then one other thing to note that we noticed was, did they come through? We've got a very teeny tiny little tip of the screw coming through. Oh, and then I have it over here. So when you're screwing in, you don't really need to ream on it. Just make sure it's attached. And if you're sticking out too far as to where it would maybe like cause some kind of small injury, what you could do is just reverse your drill and just back it out just slightly. So it's still attached really well. I can no longer feel that screw head, and you should be good. I don't think I see any of these in the middle. Okay, so we've got this screwed in, and you're only going to do this on 2 of your panels because it's just going to you know, be sandwiched like this, and then your other panels will just be they'll just be as they are right now, and then you'll have other extra boards in your kit that will go across, and that's what will hold the dirt. Okay, so now we have both of our panels with the brackets, and so as I was screwing mine in, I noticed that this distance is not super apparent, so I want to make sure that I mark, you can mark either the top or the bottom, and I'm just going to write B and kind of just put a line. This is going to be on the inside, so no one's even going to notice. So when I'm putting the legs on my planter, I need to know that this goes on the bottom and not, you know, not vice versa. Just a handy tip to try to help out. Okay, so now it is time to put, these are your 2x2 legs. You should have 4 of these in your kit. It's time to put the legs, and at this point you're also going to use your longer 2.5-inch screws that came in your set. And so for these, we're just going to screw in. We're going to screw in on the top and then on the bottom, because this is where we've got the widest amount of wood to work with. And you just want to line up the top and make it flush. Okay, so now that we're at the part where we're going to attach our 2x2s for the legs, for me, I'm going to move my project towards the edge of my workbench because to get clearance, you know, I've got plenty of clearance if I screw in this way. If you are working from home and, you know, maybe you're kneeling on the ground to do this project, it's going to be a little bit awkward to, you know, kind of screw it in on the ground. Your hand's going to be right on the floor. So just ask your Zoom hosts the best way. We found a few ways that make it so much easier to attach the legs, and yeah, they'll be able to help you. So so like I said, 2.5-inch screws. I'm just gonna go right in. One at the top, one at the bottom. Okay, so we've got one leg attached, and now we're going to attach the second leg. Just flip it over. And again, make sure that the top is flush with your panel. Okay. Okay, so you're going to put the two legs on both of your panels that have the bracket, and then we'll go from there. Now we have our two panels, and they have two legs in our bracket, and then now we are going to attach the panels without legs. And the way we're going to do that is to create an L. So we'll go like that. But first what we're going to do is measure where our screws should go, because as you can see here, this screw is going all the way through. So if I start this screw right here, it's going to hit that one. So what I want to do is on this side, just mark just a little bit off from the other screw, and here I'll just go down a little further. That way when we go straight through like that, it will miss the screw. The other piece of advice that I have is to get the screws started while this panel is on either the workbench that you're working from or the ground. Just get them started, don't go all the way through. And you'll see why. You'll see why this is helpful in a second. We are going to pre-drill all 4 of the holes that are going to go into the next panel. So again, just reiterating, we don't want to hit this screw. So right here, I'm going to move it down slightly. And then on this one, I don't want to screw into there. I'm going to move it down this way. Oops, come on, pencil. Okay, so let's get these pre-drilled. Hit, and now we are ready to make our first L. We are going to create our L. This way. Okay. And so you see how these are going to go right in, and it's going to be so much easier to hold them together. I'm going to hold this one kind of with my arm over here. I'll hold this one with my hand. Keep it lined up. And if it tries to kind of jump away, hold that end. There we go. Same for down here. I'm going to move it towards the edge of my workbench. Okay, this one's a little tricky. So you see how there's a gap here? I'm going to block the video, but same thing. I'll hold on this side so I can pull it towards me. Whoops. And then you see how that closes the gap right there. You just kind of keep screwing it and it'll pull it together. So attach your first one, and then we're going to attach our second one. So we have an L right now. If you attach your second panel that has no legs, we're going to make a U. Okay, so we are attaching our second panel, and this is going to make our U shape. And so we've got our pre-drilled screws. Okay, and then the last step for this base and so on our second panel that has legs, we've also got the screws pre-drilled, which is just going to make this process easy. So again, make sure that this is flush. So now that we have the base of our planter box done, you are going to need to get your angle cut 1x3s out, and also use we're back to the smaller screws, the 1 1/4 inch screws. So what I found, the easiest way to line up the first angled board in order to make sure that these 45-degree angles will work all the way around is to line up this inner angle on the board with the inner corner of the leg right here. Inner angle, and then this is the inner corner. And that's going to be the easiest way to make sure all the 45s line up. To try to fit the pieces together just to be sure. These are kind of hard because they want to fall off the edge. Just to get an estimate of what that's going to look like. And on mine, you know, these angles they're not perfect, but yeah, that's pretty darn good. So I'm going to work on the next 2 legs and I'll finish up with the 3rd leg. Okay, now I am attaching my, let's only use 1 screw at a time, my 4th board on the top. And as you guys can see, mine is not perfect, but in my opinion, it's an outside planter box. So I kind of like the imperfections. You can be, yeah, it's actually quite far off, but you can be a little bit more detail oriented and get those angles perfectly lined up. But like I said, I feel like that looks fine. And then you'll have these extra boards, and these just fit right in here. And that is what